Archaeologists have discovered a huge ancient city hidden underground in Mexico, which may give a better understanding of the Maya civilization.
From massive-sized pyramids hidden in the remotest parts of the jungle to lost highways, these are some more ancient structures found in jungles that shouldn't exist. Deep in the jungles of northern Guatemala is El Mirador, an ancient city-state that was once home to over 1 million people. El Mirador is huge. It's one of the largest and oldest Maya cities. What's really cool about it though are the roads. There's a 150-mile network of ancient highways. They were rediscovered in 1967 by British explorer Ian Graham, who published a map of the site. Then in 2006, researchers used lasers to scan the Mirador Basin from the sky, and they were able to create 3D images that showed this system of roads, pyramids, and canals. The highways themselves were massive, with raised causeways 20 feet high. What's wild is that these roads were built between 600 BCE and 100 CE. They would have helped move supplies and people across this vast city. These ancient roads are part of what make El Mirador one of the most sophisticated ancient civilizations in the Americas. What you're looking at here is the mysterious Monk's Mound in Illinois, part of the Cahokia Mounds. The mounds were part of an ancient city home to the Mississippian people between 1050 and 1350 CE. Cahokia once had a population of 15,000 to 20,000 people, and it was a marvel of engineering and planning. The site now contains about 80 mounds, but the original city had around 120. The mounds were used for everything from ceremonial purposes to housing elite rulers. The most famous mound, Monk's Mound, is the largest in North America, standing 10 stories tall and covering 14 acres. Pretty bizarre, you have an ancient pyramid right in the middle of Illinois. Cahokia was the largest pre-Columbian city north of Mexico and one of the most complex archaeological sites in the US. The city's original name has unfortunately been lost to time, but the mounds were named after the Cahokia tribe, a group that lived nearby when French explorers arrived in the 17th century. Uxmal on the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico is one of the most important cities of the Maya civilization. It's a site full of massive structures, but one of the standouts here is the Pyramid of the Magician, also called the House of the Dwarf. Legend has it that a dwarf, who hatched from an egg, built the pyramid in a single night. In reality, the pyramid was built in the 6th century, but it's still an impressive feat. Standing 115 feet tall, the pyramid is the largest building in Uxmal, with 5 levels and multiple temples inside. The Maya often built new structures on top of older ones, and Temple 4, one of the top temples in the pyramid, has 12 stone masks around its doorway, thought to represent Chak, the rain god. The governor's palace, another giant structure, covers over 12,000 square feet. You'll also find ancient roads that connect Uxmal to other Maya cities like Tikal and even Calakmul in Belize. Today, Uxmal is an UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's easy to see why. Chichén Itzá is one of the most famous and impressive ancient Maya cities, located in the heart of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula once again. At one time, it was a busy place full of religious ceremonies, politics, and trade. At its peak, it was home to around 35,000 people. It was built in a perfect spot near a bunch of natural sinkholes that provided plenty of water. In fact, the name Chichén Itzá comes from the Mayan words chi, mouth, chen, wells, and Itzá, which was the name of the Mayan tribe who settled there at the time. Chichén Itzá was founded in the 6th century, but it really reached its height during the 10th century when it was influenced by the Toltec people from central Mexico. One of the most famous buildings here is El Castillo, the pyramid at the center of the site. At 79 feet tall, it has 365 steps, one for each day of the year, and during the spring and autumn equinoxes, the shadows create this illusion of a serpent slithering down the stairs. Machu Picchu is one of the most iconic ancient structures in the entire world, sitting high in the Peruvian Andes and nearly 8,000 feet above sea level. It's a 15th century Inca citadel, often called the Lost City of the Incas, and for good reason. It was mostly hidden from the outside world until 1911, when American historian Hiram Bingham rediscovered it. The site is mind-blowing to say the least. It was built in the classical Inca style with perfectly fitted dry stone walls, and its three main structures, the Temple of the Sun, the Temple of the Three Windows, and the Intihuatana are still standing. The Inca never wrote anything down though, so no one really knows exactly what Machu Picchu was for. The leading theory is that it was a private retreat for the Inca emperor, but built around 1450. Some archaeologists think it was more of a royal estate, but we still don't really know. Machu Picchu was abandoned by the Inca around 100 years later, just before the Spanish conquest. Vilcabamba in Peru, often called the lost city of the Incas as well, was the final stronghold of the Inca Empire. It was the capital of the Neo-Inca state from 1539 until its fall in 1572. It was the last base of Incan resistance against Spanish invaders. The city's remote jungle location made it nearly impossible for the Spanish to reach, allowing the Incas to hold out for decades here. Its ruins were hidden for centuries. In 1911, explorer Hiram Bingham mistakenly identified Machu Picchu as Vilcabamba, but years later explorers, including Jean Savoy in the 60s, found that the real site was actually this one here. For decades, the Spanish struggled to locate the city, with one chronicler writing, "Great resources are needed to undertake a penetration of that land." But the city was finally captured in 1572, leading to the execution of the last Inca monarch. Yaxchilan is an ancient Mayan city found deep in the jungles of southern Mexico, along the Usumacinta River. It was one of the most powerful cities in the Maya world between the 4th and 9th centuries. The city is probably most famous for its huge acropolis, a collection of buildings that includes temples, palaces, and ceremonial areas. The site is also packed with all these incredible reliefs that tell us quite a bit about the Maya life, their gods, and the rituals that they would have performed. Yaxchilan's remote location helped it stay hidden for centuries, and it wasn't until the 19th century that explorers started to rediscover it. One of the coolest things about this place is how the jungle has slowly started reclaiming the city, giving it this kind of lost feel to it. And next on the list we have geoglyphs. In the Amazon rainforest, large-scale geoglyphs, which are these ancient formations created by removing topsoil, have been discovered over the years. They're basically these colossal drawings carved into the earth, some stretching over 600 feet. They're in all kinds of shapes, circles, squares, some depict animals even. And researchers believe these geoglyphs were constructed between 2000 and 6500 years ago by indigenous tribes. As to their purpose though, that's still mostly a mystery. There are theories. Maybe they are used for ceremonial or religious practices, or maybe they had a more practical function like water management or defense, but the sheer scale of these things and the effort it would have required to create them definitely raises a lot of questions about what these tribes were capable of. Calakmul is an ancient Maya city deep in the jungles of southern Mexico, in the Yucatan Peninsula once again, and it was one of the largest and most powerful Maya cities, especially during the Classic period, around 600 to 700 CE. Found near the Guatemalan border, Calakmul was a major player in the Maya world, often locked in competition with other city-states like Tikal, which we covered in part 1, so check that out if you haven't already. The city is massive, covering more than 70 square kilometers, but it's most famous for its massive pyramids. The largest pyramid, known as Structure 1, stands over 145 feet tall and is one of the tallest Maya pyramids ever discovered. It's so big that it even dwarfs other pyramids in the region. Teotihuacan is one of the most impressive and mysterious ancient cities in Mesoamerica, sitting just 25 miles northeast of modern Mexico City. At its peak, it was the largest city in the Americas, with a population that could have reached up to 125,000 people, making it one of the world's biggest cities during its time. The city is famous for its massive pyramids, the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. These monuments are massive, the Pyramid of the Sun standing at 200 feet high, making it one of the largest pyramids in the world. But Teotihuacan has more than just those giant stone structures. It also had a sophisticated layout with multi-family apartment complexes, wide avenues, and intricate murals that now give us a glimpse into the daily life of the people who once lived there. And the place had a lot of influence on places surrounding it too. The city's obsidian tools were highly prized across Mesoamerica, and evidence of its presence has been found as far away as the Maya region. Its cultural impact was huge. The later Aztecs even saw Teotihuacan as their spiritual ancestors and adopted some aspects of their culture into their own. Teotihuacan was established around 100 BCE, but mysteriously collapsed in the 6th century. So with all that said, I've been your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.